welcome back. Let's talk about all of the books that I read during the month of June. I read 7 books last month, and these are my stats. The first thing that I read this month was The Eye of the Bedlam Bride. This is Dungeon Crawler Carl book 6, and I have to say that for me, this series is getting better and better as it goes along. And I know part of that is probably the fact that I view series, especially series like this, where there's like no gaps in between the books. This is just a continuous story. I view it as just that one story. I think they're getting better and better. And I know that some people disagree with that. Some people think that some of the books in the series are not as good as others, but I loved this one. I thought this was the best concept for a floor yet, and I know that that is my 90s kid Pokemon loving heart. I am a boy mom. I still to this day watch Pokemon. And the fact that this floor was them capturing monsters to turn them into cards to then play like a magic card game was like, I loved that. I thought that was so cool. So in this one, like I said, it was set up in phases, and in phase 1 they got to pick a part of our world to go to. It's like a memory world. So it was like they captured a memory of what Earth was like a week or so, I think, before the invasion where they collapsed everything to create the dungeon. Carl and Donut, they go to Cuba. And so the monsters that they are seeing are like based on things that are in Cuba or legends that they have in Cuba. And then, you know, of course, the crawlers are, you know, in their chat talking to each other and things like that. And so some of the ones that went to other places are seeing creatures from the lore of other places. One of them, I think, was like chasing a Bigfoot at one point in time. And then, of course, the characters of the cards themselves. I think one of my favorite things about this series is the characters. Like, Matt Denneman writes such good characters. Even the robot that cleans their like common area, because, you know, of course they're out killing monsters and stuff, and they'll come back in and there's like blood and guts everywhere, and they've got this little robot cleaner that even the robot cleaning their room has a personality. And I love that. So their cards, they have Uzi Jesus, which, you know, if you are like super religious, would probably be offensive to you, but it's a book. It's funny to me. They have a monk seal, which is pretty funny. And of course you have to listen to the audiobooks. You have to listen to the audiobooks when you're reading along with this, because Jeff Hayes is so talented, and when he did the monk seals and was doing the like kung fu ninja sounds, oh my god, it was hilarious. So they do meet a character in here who is pretty dangerous, and of course Samantha, the severed sex doll head, becomes besties with her, and she, like, you know, joins the team. But of course they don't quite trust her because she is just a little bit dangerous and just a little bit crazy. And turns out that was probably a good call. There were a few instances in here where I was laughing so hard I was crying, and then there were a few instances in here where I was absolutely sobbing over characters, and like for real, legit crying. So of course I gave this one 5 stars. I am actually now currently reading book number 7, which is the last like published Dungeon Crawler Carl book. and it's probably going to be like a year or so before we get book 8. And I find myself wanting to slow down. Like, I started book 1 in March, and I'm already on book 7, and I don't want it to be over. Like, I love this series. This has become one of my favorite series, and I can't believe that this is one that I said would not be for me, and I had to be talked into reading this series. So I think you should read this series. After that, I read To Sleep in a Sea of Stars, and this was mine and Alana's buddy read for this month. And I was really enjoying this book until I wasn't enjoying this book. And I stopped enjoying the book pretty much at the end. However, I have to say, knowing how Christopher Paolini ended the inheritance cycle, I should have seen the ending of this one coming. It wasn't bad. The ending still like made sense for the story. Artistically, that style of ending works. However, it wasn't satisfying for me. So in this one, you have your main character, Kira, who is like a xenobiologist or something. She is on a mission with her crew, and basically we're at the point where they have discovered how to travel faster than light, so they can travel to other galaxies and inhabit other worlds and things like that. So they're exploring a world, getting it ready for colonization, basically. And she stumbles across alien ruins. They obviously suspect that there are other life forms out there, but they don't have any evidence of that. They have no contact with any other alien life. And in this one, she comes across some ruins. And this is only like the second thing that they've ever found in the solar system that indicates that there are other life forms out there. And while she's in there, she stirs up this dust that ends up like just covering her, and she kind of like blacks out. So when she comes to, she's going to realize that whatever that was has like bonded to her. And so now, of course, like the government, the powers that be, they are wanting to study her and this life form to figure out like what it is it hostile, all of that kind of stuff. Also at the same time, it seems to have sent out some kind of signal to this this race of alien beings that are like basically crustaceans and sea creatures, but they're aliens. And they are now attacking. And then not only them, there's also another race of alien beings that are attacking. And those are really scary. But anyways, as the story goes on, I felt so bad for Kira because she didn't ask for any of this to happen. And she's just trying to do the right thing. She's trying to save the human race. She's trying to do what she can to end this invasion and end the annihilation of human beings, right? And I felt like she sacrificed a lot for her to not have a happy ending. And that's all I will say about that. This ending was not happy. It was not satisfying to me. Artistically, yeah, it works. It leaves it open for other books in this universe. But I won't be reading them. So I gave this one 4 stars. It was a good book. It was well written. Christopher Paolini is an excellent author. I just did not like this ending. It did not work for me. Then I read Piranesi, and I had pretty much the same experience. I was really enjoying it, and then I felt like the ending was not very satisfying. However, this is a short book, and I think my issue with this book is that I wish that it had been longer and that it had taken more time at the end, or just done something different at the end. I don't really know what I wanted. But in this one, I've talked about this one before. So there is a person, Piranesi, who lives in this house. And the house has like endless hallways and rooms and things like that. It's basically a big maze. And there is only one other person living in this world, and that's what it is to him. This house is the whole world. There's nothing else. Then there is some talk of another person, and so this is a person that they call 16, because between the 13 skeletons and the other in Piranesi, he only knows of 15 people that exist, and so this other being that he is warned about would be 16. And so from there, he starts to learn the truth about who the other is, who he is, what this world is, and how he came to be in it. And it's very dreamlike. It's written as like diary entries, and so all of that makes it very very dreamlike and a little bit disjointed, because he's telling you these stories of like things that have happened to him. And so sometimes, you know, he's talking about things that are currently happening, and then sometimes he'll be talking about something else that happened that's related to something that just happened. And so all of that part I loved. But then at the end, where he realizes the truth and he realizes that he has to make a decision, he makes that decision. And again, I felt so bad for him, because he wasn't happy with that decision. He wasn't happy like he was at the beginning of the book. Maybe I just don't love an ambiguous ending, because I think that that's like the thing that those two books have in common, is that the ending is a little bit ambiguous. There is no ending. And I don't know, maybe if it was like a death, it told me what happened, maybe it would make me happier. I don't know, because I think I know what the characters are gonna do in the end, but maybe they don't. I don't know. But anyways, I did give this a 4-star rating. I liked it. It was very enjoyable. I think you should read it. But I just wish the ending had been a little bit different. I don't know. It felt so dreamlike, and it's a quick read, which is one of the things I did like about it. But I felt like maybe if it had been longer and had taken a longer time to resolve itself in the end, because, you know, it's kind of like you're going along, you're learning about this person, you're learning about the mystery, and then all of a sudden it's like bam, the action happens, and then it's over. I don't know. I don't know. Then I read A Curse Carved in Bone. This is the sequel to A Fate Inked in Blood, and I'm not 100% sure how to tell you about this one without spoiling anything, because it is a sequel, and the events of the first book lead straight into this book. What I will say is, in this duology, you have Freya, who has a drop of God's blood, and that is revealed very early in the first book. And because of that, and because of the goddess that she got the blood from, there is a prophecy surrounding her that whoever controls her fate will be king of Scotland. And so then, of course, people are going to be trying to control her. And so she is in this, abusive marriage. And then she leaves that to then be forced to marry this king. And so she feels like she has no control over her life, and all that she wants to do is help people. She does want to go to war. She does want to protect her country from this like invading country. Well, they're not really countries, but kingdoms. You get what I'm saying. In that one, as things rock on, there is a big reveal at the end. So this one picks up right where that leaves off. There is like further prophecy surrounding her that she's going to like basically bring destruction on people. And she doesn't want to do that. And so she's trying to find a way to change that future. And that is this book. And this one has even more reveals and secrets. There were things that I did see coming, but some of it I did not see coming. And so having that kind of sense of, I don't know if I trust these people, but I don't know who to not trust, and I don't know what's gonna happen. So like you kind of sense that something is gonna happen, and then it does, and I didn't foresee what happened. It was a little crazy. I gave this 5 stars. I gave A Fate Inked in Blood 5 stars. I definitely think that this duology would be worth it. From there, I listened to 3 audiobooks this month. The first one was Murder by Memory. And this one I read to satisfy the prompts for my Buzzwordathon. I am going to try to go the entire year using the same book for the cover and the word in the title. And so this one had to have a memory word, and then it had to have celestial things on it. And so this one was perfect because it had like space and stuff, and it was Murder by Memory. So in this one, this woman like wakes up and she's in a different body, because it is set in the future where you can basically back up your memory to like a hard drive, like the computer's memory banks or whatever, and basically you can live forever. And so she has like retired, so she's basically like her memory, her consciousness, whatever, has basically been sitting on a shelf somewhere, and all of a sudden she's woken up and put in a body. And the ship has done that because something has happened. They're going through these like maybe solar storms or something like that, some kind of a storm that's interfering with the ship and like the electronics, or his, the ship mind or whatever. So when she wakes up, she has this murder to solve. And the way that it works, like I said, like your memory can be backed up. So as long as you are performing that backup, all you have to do is have a new body, I don't know, like 3D printed, I guess, and have that memory stuck back in there, and you're good to go. The issue is that this person's body was murdered, but so was their like mind, their memories, their little book thing on the shelf that has their like sentience in it was also murdered. And so she has to solve who did it, and she does that. And it is set up like a cozy mystery, just set in the future on a spaceship. She meets a character who's probably going to end up being a love interest. It was 3 stars for me. It was okay. It was a short, quick read, so there was that. And I love cozy mysteries, but I do find that I often give them 3 stars because they're cozy mysteries. They do the same thing. This is a series that I probably would not continue in. I didn't feel that much of a connection to the characters, but it was decent. So if you like cozy mysteries, you like sci-fi, and you feel like you want a mashup of those 2 things, this might be a good choice for you. After reading the 2 books with those kind of like heavy endings and having all of the feels, I just kind of wanted something that was just, you know, I don't know, not necessarily like guaranteed happily ever after or anything like that, but I wanted something that I could kind of just like turn my brain off and just enjoy. And so in looking through audiobooks that were available from Libby, one that I found was the Never List. So I did give this one a try. I actually listened to this in like less than 24 hours. I really enjoyed it. Now, I'm gonna just kind of show you the content notice on here. And here I run into the uncomfortableness or awkwardness, maybe. I don't know. My 1-year-old niece watches my videos. Love you, Emma. And my mom and dad watch my videos. So y'all might want to plug your ears for this part. I don't know. At least Emma doesn't really understand what I'm saying. She just likes to watch me. But in this one, there are 4 princes, and their mothers were 4 goddesses that were mates with the 4 kings. There's like 4 cities in this like kingdom, and they all like rule together, whatever. But the goddesses ended up basically like casting this spell over the country so that it would be protected, but they're basically statues now. They've like gone to sleep or whatever, and their life force is sustaining this protection spell. But before they left, they set it up to where their 4 sons would find one mate. And it supposedly is something to do with balancing the magic, so that they're like, there's like a pool of magic and they can each like pull from it or whatever. And they didn't want there to be any like fighting for power or anything like that. I don't know. I honestly just think it was so that this main character could be with 4 different people. That's just me personally, which, I mean, if you're into that thing, go off, you know, you do you. Having said that, I still really enjoyed this one enough to the point where I bought it so that I can reread it before the sequel comes out. I liked the mystery of this one. So the main character, what is her name? Riley sneaks into the choosing. She's from an area where she's not supposed to go to things like this. She's basically, think the Ska from Mistborn, which is like the servant class, that kind of thing. So she's not supposed to be here, but she is, and she is searching for someone who went missing from the choosing the year before, and she's trying to stay under the radar. She just wants to sneak in, get some information about this person, and leave. However, she captures the attention of one of the princes, and she is chosen. And of course, this is dangerous because she is hiding secrets about who she is that could get her killed. And so, of course, she can't say anything. She's got to go through with this situation. She's supposed to spend a month with each prince before deciding if yes, she wants to go through with this ritual thing that will make her immortal and become like the queen or whatever. So she's got to go through with it, because if she doesn't, they're going to look into her background and figure out who she is, and she's going to probably be killed, right? So, of course, she's forced to spend time with these four dudes, right? This one had some spicy scenes. If that is your thing, you would like this one. However, what I did like about this is there was still enough plot. The plot was still well paced enough that I was still intrigued. And the twists at the end, the twists plural at the end, I suspected two of them. And those two things did come to pass. But like, you're gonna be like, wait, what's going on? And then you're gonna be like, oh wow, I knew it. And then at the end you're gonna be like, dude, WTF, what just happened? That's how I was anyways. So if that sounds interesting to you, then maybe you should read this one. If you like romantasy, if you like your romantasy a little bit spicy, and you are into a why choose situation, this one is for you. If you're not into a why choose situation, like it gives you the ick, obviously skip this one. If you're kind of like me and you're like, nah, you know, take it or leave it, as long as it's got a good story, you know, whatever, then give this one a try. I did give it 4 stars. The other audiobook that I listened to was also a success. I did end up ordering it. It's just not here yet. And that is Shield of Sparrows. This is one that I've seen going around Book Talk. And so it said it was available, and so I listened to it. This is another one that I read probably a little more than 24 hours, but definitely read this one in 2 days. In this one, you have Odessa, who is your main character, and even though she is the oldest, she is not the princess that is going to be fulfilling this contract that her kingdom is part of. Basically, the Shield of Sparrows is this agreement that all of the kingdoms share off or marry off a prince or a princess, and they kind of like take turns sending either a prince or princess, depending on, you know, what they have at the time, what's available. Depending on what's available, they send either the prince or the princess to whatever country it is. And so that what that's supposed to do is to keep them from going to war with each other, because they're all basically like intermarried. And Odessa is not the princess that is destined to be the Sparrow. Her sister has been trained for that, and Odessa has pretty much been forgotten, really. But she kind of doesn't mind too much because it gives her freedom to do the things that she wants to do, but she's not really happy. And so one day the prince of this other kingdom comes. He has a person with him called the Guardian, who's supposedly this like bloodthirsty murderer type, you know. They came to help kill these monsters that were like worse than normal. In payment for killing 7 of these, they demand that the wedding be moved up to that like day, and they demand that Odessa be the bride, not her sister. And so the father has no choice but to agree to this, even though he has been training the sister this whole time, because he kind of has his own agenda in all of this. So Odessa goes anyways. Now, the big looming thing in the background is there is this crux, I think it's crux migration. Basically these like giant monster birds that come like every 20 years or so, and basically they will just level towns. They have like safe rooms, tunnels, things like that they have to use during the times of this migration. And a lot of people still will probably die because it kills off livestock and crops and all of the things, right? So this is kind of like looming in the background, and she has this timeline of getting some information for her father. The biggest secret, it's not the biggest reveal, but the biggest secret of this book I saw from the very beginning, and I kind of feel like maybe that's on purpose. However, the like real twist ending, I did not see that coming, so I cannot wait for the next book to figure out what happens. If you love a slow burn romance, you will really enjoy this one. I'm talking like it was 80% of the way through the book when the enemies were turning to lovers, okay? So if you love that trope, that enemies to lovers slow burn, this would be a good choice for you. I gave this one 4 stars though, because I felt like the pacing was weird in this one. It was like hurry up and wait for the first like 3/4 of the book, and then all of a sudden the action started happening at the end, which, I mean, that might not be a bad thing for some people, and honestly it wasn't a bad thing. Obviously I still read the book, and I read it in a fast time frame, but I feel like there could have been more things, like maybe some of the secrets that were being revealed and stuff like that part could have been sped up just a little bit. I feel like if the events of the book were a little bit more compacted and the pace picked up some, that would probably have made this a 5-star for me. So that is it. Those are the books that I read this month, and I'm curious to see, have you read any of these? Do you want to read any of these? What did you read this month? What would you recommend for me moving forward? As you can see, I'm a pretty big mood reader. There was no rhyme or reason to the stack. And that is it for now. I will see you again soon. I'm about to record my June book haul video. I still need to do my July spread and my reading journal. I've got some vlog stuff coming up soon, hopefully. So that is it for now. I will see you again soon. Bye. Say that one more time. What should I say?